A very good evening to you all, and many thanks for joining us here on Rwanda Television. We hope you had yourselves a very productive day. Now, top of our edition tonight, these are headlines. The Minister of Local Government assures solving issues that led the pillar of investing in human and social development being the last in the 2023 Rwanda Governance Scorecard. Rwanda has been approved for a loan of $262 million that will help in the efforts to protect its economy from instability that will be provided by the IMF. Glad to have your company once again, coming to you from the city of Kigali. My name is Martina Avera. Let us begin our bulletin by letting you know that Rwanda's Senate President, Dr. François-Xavier Kalinda, is currently leading a delegation on a working visit to Pakistan, and on Tuesday met the chairman of that country's Senate, Muhammad Sadiq Sanjirani. The two officials signed cooperation agreements meant to strengthen the bilateral ties between the two parliaments. The Minister of Local Government assures solving issues that led to the pillar of investing in human and social development being the last in the 2023 Rwanda Governance Scorecard. The issues, as demonstrated by the Rwanda Governance Board, include poverty, social protection, and people living with disabilities, as well as education matters. Prince Manzi has more on this report.
The 2023 Rwanda Governance Scorecard demonstrates that the first pillar in this research is the safety and security with 93.63%, followed by the anti-corruption and transparency with 88.97%. Thirdly, the rule of law with 88.89%. Fourth is the political rights and civil liberties with 88.01%. And the fifth is the participation and inclusiveness with 84.04%. The Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda Governance Board, Dr. Usta Kayitesi, demonstrates that on this 10th edition, the safety and security pillar continues to be on the forefront ever since the inaugural of the research.
The
safety and security of the country is trusted, and I believe to be their professionalism. And it is not surprising to find that the trust for police increasing this year to 3 points more. When you take a look back, you find that the unprofessional polices who were sanctioned, this demonstrates the professionalism and disciplining cultures, making the police in the institutions in charge of fighting corruption. It demonstrates also trust.
Issues related to education, economically classing people with disabilities, and high-level poverty led the investing in human and social development pillar, being the last in the 8 Rwanda Governance Scorecard pillars. The Minister of Local Government, Jean-Claude Musabyimana, assures solving these issues.
Icyambere nuko abafite ubumuga hari gahunda ihari yo kubamenya bose yatinze. Iyo gahunda yaratinze.
Firstly, there's a system of tracing all people with disabilities. This program delayed, but it will be done this year. For eradicating poverty, you know that there's a new system in place. What we're emphasizing on is the citizen participation, and we believe it to be productive. The UN Resident Coordinator in Rwanda, Ozonia Ojielo, demonstrates that as partners, these research outcomes will determine areas to strengthen collaboration.
This report therefore represents an important document for us as development partners with which we should continue our strategic dialogue with government and the various institutions. For those areas that remain continuing concerns for the citizens, they should constitute points of discussion at our sector working group levels so that the members of the groups could further explore what else needs to be done to support the improvement in performance in the identified areas.
The Minister in the Office of the President, Judith Uwizeye, urges well-performed sectors to not relegate, as they will still be required to provide more, and also urges those that did not perform well to do so.
We pursue our national development agenda. We need to sustain what has already been achieved while working to areas where we still have gaps. For the sectors that have consistently demonstrated high performance, I want to commend institutions operating in those areas, but also challenge them to work even harder, because as we continue to empower our citizens, their demand will be even higher in the near future.
The least performed pillars include investing in human and social development with 75.51%, that is the 8th, the quality of service delivery with 78.38%, ranked the 7th, and the economic and corporate governance with 79.98%, ranked the 6th. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince Manzi, for that report. Rwanda has been approved for a loan of $262 million that will help in the efforts to protect its economy from instability. It will be provided by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to help increase domestic production and reduce the deficit of exports and imports. We have more on this report. Rwanda is eligible to receive this loan from the International Monetary Fund, while statistics show that the inflation rate on the market was at a rate of 15.2% in the second quarter of this year, from a rate of 20.2% in the first quarter of this year. The gap between exports and imports tripled in the first 2 quarters of this year, reaching an average of 12.7%. It made Rwanda's economy continue to grow at a rate of 6.3%. Ruben Atoyan, IMF resident representative for Rwanda, and the team that made this assessment, says that the economic crisis these days is based on the effects of climate change, but that both sides will continue to find solutions together.
Rwanda was one of the 5 first pilots in the world to sign up for this Resilience and Sustainability Facility, declare its commitment to climate agenda, and advance reforms under this facility. Rwanda was the first country to complete the first review under the RSF, first country in the world. It shows really that Rwanda is a front runner on that. And this is thanks to the strong commitment of the government, but also we were trying to support the authorities' efforts in that area. That resulted in significant catalytic role of the RSF financing, which brings additional climate finance to the country. We already see the first commitments realizing. Some of the projects are being signed and starting the implementation, which will be benefiting from additional external financing coming thanks to the strong effort of Rwanda on the climate change.
In addition to the problem of climate change, wars and conflicts in major countries are also contributing to the economic crisis because they affect the chain of supply of goods and services. Minister of State in charge of National Treasury in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, Richard Tusabe, says that the priority now is to increase the amount of money coming from within the country.
In all things that we do, we need to make sure that we work together so that we increase the amount of money derived from within the country. As the money in the world becomes less and less, what can we do so that the money coming from within our country increases? One of the things we will do as the government is to work with Rwanda Revenue Authority to make sure that there is a proper flow in taxation and things are up to par. We want to ensure that every coin that is meant to go into the state treasury gets there and there is no movement of money that is unaccounted for.
The meeting of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, that will meet this December is when the first round of this loan that will amount to $135.5 million will be approved and will be channeled into the funds to meet the economy and make sure it is sustainable. Through the Kungahara project, on Tuesday, the EU signed a 14 billion Rwandan francs MOU with some of the districts for supporting the agricultural produce in 20 districts across the country. Prince Manzi with more.
14 projects across the country in 20 districts will be supported in this project. The ambassador of the European Union to Rwanda, Ambassador Belen Kavo Yara, demonstrates that the aim is to increase the agricultural produce for addressing food scarcity.
We'll be working in a strong collaboration with the local authorities, so the projects and the initiative will be also supporting the local government authorities' plans on food security in a way to implement the plan. There were different kind of actions, so we will be working on, for instance, improve the seeds of potatoes and maize, and we'll be also working in the food system, in the access to markets, and we will also target women and a certain category of the households on the ground.
This project began with the signing of MOU between the EU and the districts of Rulindo and Burera. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Olivier Kamana, demonstrates that this is a support to the government's program of supporting the citizens' well-being.
11
million euros is a lot of money allocated in agriculture and livestock. This will have a huge impact, mostly to smallholder farmers, for their food service, as well as in fighting against malnutrition and stunning in children. The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda demonstrates that 20.6% of households in Rwanda face food insufficiency, with the Western Province owing 36% of these households. This project comes as in Rwanda and elsewhere in the world, the food prices are on rise. Prisma.
From November 1st, Rwanda will host the All Africa Challenge Trophy at the Kigali Resort Golf Villa. The tournament will convene various teams of women in golf from different African countries, namely Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Mauritius, Tanzania, Uganda, as well as Zambia. The director of the tournament, Alice Rugema, points out that the tournament is also an opportunity to share experience.
Not only to compete because it's a golf tournament, but we also need to, to share experience and also look at the culture because it's actually diversity. Because we believe on women. Without this, we can't go far. Not only this for the economy, because they're coming here and actually to spend. So it's when they come here, they want to visit Rwanda. This is why, because they always say, how is Rwanda, how is Rwanda? Now that they come here, they want actually to play to this beautiful course and also networking for with the ladies of Rwanda.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Zephanie Nyonguru, notes that receiving the tournament in Rwanda for the first time is significant to the development of the sports industry, but precisely the golf game.
We're excited to host it in Rwanda for the first time, and we're hosting it for the first time also at this new infrastructure, 18-hole golf course, which was recently completed. So we're super excited. So what it means from competition point of view, it's an opportunity for our ladies to compete with their regional colleagues. And also number two, it's an opportunity to showcase our golf course as well. And also make sure that even others with a similar tournament, would want to bring those tournaments to Rwanda. So over the next 3 days, we expect to see, tough competition. You saw 7 countries. We have Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, Mauritius, and Zambia. And up to Friday, we definitely expect that the best team will win.
The Kigali Golf Resort and Villas is an 18-hole course. The 2023 EAC-AACT Golf Ladies Tournament will be held at this course from the 1st to the 3rd of November. Residents across the Volcanoes National Park appreciate how the gorilla trekking, a form of tourism, changed their lives. Prince Manzi has more on this.
Early in the day, residents in Kinigi, Musanze district are participating in decorating their workplaces as tourists usually pass by as they proceed to the national park. They attribute Kinigi's development to the good leadership. As you can see, the city is very clean. It was renovated on an 80% rate, and we have many economic centers. Developmental changes in Kinigi are also obvious in roads, electricity, schools, hotels, hospitals, and others. They attribute to the gorilla trekking form of tourism. Because of tourism, we saw changes. We have a health center in this region, and we are grateful to the President for all of this. And the coming, as you can see, renovations are also ongoing for the health center. Musanze district residents also appreciate that tourism is the introduction of various projects, including livestock, agriculture, and arts, that prompted them to innovate and create jobs for their development. Foreign currencies contributed to our development. We pay fees for our children, we buy clothes and food. These residents pledged to preserve the achieved so far in their region. Those who lived in high-risk zones changed locations, and they live well. I can say that the development we owe, the good leadership, will preserve it and ensure its safety. In order to better preserve the ecosystem in the National Volcanoes Park and to further improve the development of the residents, Rwanda has started a project to expand it. This will reduce the problems faced by residents, including attacks of wild animals and others.
So thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. I bringing to you the bulletin was Martina Avera. Stay safe and have a great night.